Finding and following your spiritual path can be incredibly challenging and frustrating, but it doesn't have to be. I've been consciously on a spiritual path for 30 years. And like you, I've had my ups and downs, highs and lows. I've had some incredible moments of aha realizations and epiphanies. And I've also gone through many periods of feeling absolutely lost or even abandoned by spirit. I've learned a lot over the years, finding my own path and also helping others find theirs. And in this video, I'd like to share some thoughts that I'm hoping can make your journey a little easier, more enjoyable, and a lot lighter. I see two extremes when it comes to finding and following your path. The first one I call searching. And I'm sure, like me, you've been there. Searching means you're looking for the next step. You're just actively looking. What's next? There's got to be something next. It's like you're turning over every possible stone. You're following every lead. You're wondering, where am I going to find that one thing that makes it all happen for me? I went through that for many years. I was living in London when I was really getting into my spiritual awakening in the beginning, and there were some great metaphysical and esoteric bookstores there. So I would spend hours in the bookstores just going through the titles and just looking for something that I felt like be a big aha. It's like, oh my goodness, this is the book. This is the next thing. This is the thing that's going to do it for me. And even years later, I found myself going into just regular bookstores and going to the spiritual or self-help section just to see, is my next step here? Is something going to pop at me? But it felt like a lot of work. And I know a lot of us search for the next step, whether it's through books or blog articles, videos, even going to workshops. I know some people that have been to probably 100 spiritual workshops because they're always looking for that thing, that one thing that's going to turn their life around, click into place, and then their journey is all going to be clear and easy from then on out. So that's the first, what I call the first extreme, and that's the searching. And there's some fear there because there's some fear of missing out, FOMO. There might be some fear of that step appears on your path, but you'll miss it and then you'll blow your chance. So the searching is on one extreme. The other extreme I call waiting. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting a thought of the old stage play, Waiting for Godot. But the waiting mode is a different extreme. And I mean waiting for something to happen to you. So there's an expectation that at some point you're going to be in the right place, doing the right thing, and someone or something is going to swoop into your life, tell you how amazing you are, what an amazing spiritual being you are, and then lay out your path like a runway. Here's your illuminated path. Here's everything you need to know. And I've also experienced periods of being on that extreme. And, I look back and once I started learning about the whole ascension process and why so many of us were remembering our spiritual heritage, whether it's Lemurian or Elven or something else, as I was getting into that whole idea of ascension and creating a new earth, for many years, I was just sitting back waiting for it to happen. I was so convinced it was going to happen that I almost became an inactive participant. Yes, I was going along, doing my things, doing spiritual work, but in the back of my mind, I was just kind of waiting for some external force to come sweep me off my feet. So those are the two extremes I see. A little over-searching, and the other extreme, a little bit too much waiting for something to happen. As you can imagine, the sweet spot is somewhere in between. Now, the reason those two extremes don't work out for us is that in the background, behind our desires, is a belief that something's not right. In the searching, we're afraid of missing out. We're afraid that we're not going to be in the right place at the right time, or we're actually going to blow it and ruin our chance for spiritual growth in this lifetime. On the waiting side, the more we wait, the more we start subscribing to the thoughts of, why hasn't it happened yet? What am I doing wrong? Why am I not worthy of this happening to me? Am I missing this? And so as long as we hold those beliefs in the background, we're going to continue manifesting more challenges along our spiritual path. And as I said, the sweet spot is somewhere in between. So I'd like to share 3 ideas that I invite you to keep in mind as you start reflecting on where you are and where you're headed on your spiritual journey. The first is, you are the only expert in the universe on your spiritual journey, on your path. And when I say you, I'm talking about you and your higher self. As your higher self, you are the one that created the blueprint or plan for this lifetime. Your higher self knows everything about you because it is you. It is that larger, eternal, non-physical part of who you are. It has the benefit of every lifetime you've ever experienced. So the only expert on your spiritual path is you and your higher self. Not someone you go to for a psychic reading, not some workshop you go to or some video. It's you. And the sooner you start to acknowledge that, the easier your path becomes, because then your journey is to truly develop your relationship with your own higher self. Open those channels of communication. Be receptive to everything that your higher self is laying before you, because that's your higher self's job, is to keep giving you nudges, keep showing you the next step, keep giving you inspiration. You're never going to miss out entirely. Yes, you might miss this sign and ignore this guidance and completely discount that message that you get from your higher self. But because your higher self loves you unconditionally, it will keep giving you another opportunity, another step, another idea. It's never ending. You're not going to screw up. Don't worry. The second idea I invite you to keep in mind is that you want to develop your awareness and your discernment. Your awareness, first and foremost, of receiving guidance and inspiration from your own higher self, but also being aware that your higher self uses your physical world and other people to get ideas, messages, inspiration to you. So be aware, because your higher self will use any means necessary to get certain ideas to you, get certain thoughts to you. So that awareness is incredibly valuable. But you cannot accept everything that comes into your awareness as important or meaningful for you. You have to discern, does this feel right to me? Does this resonate with me? Does this feel like it truly is the next step on my path? Just because you've paid somebody for a reading, or someone is a well-known channeler or spiritual teacher, doesn't mean you have to accept everything that they say as 100% true and accurate and meaningful for you. Only you and your higher self can discern whether something is important to you. So if someone gives you a suggestion, or you go for a reading, listen with your heart, discern with your heart, decide what is true for you. And just because someone says something is true does not mean it's true for you. I've been involved with Lemurian wisdom for over 20 years. And when you start getting into the world of Lemuria, invariably someone says, okay, you have to go to Mount Shasta. You have to go there. Mount Shasta is so Lemurian. Well, I've been to Shasta a few times by myself, and I've been there a couple of times with my wife. I kind of hate to admit this, but I've never felt Lemurian energy anywhere around Mount Shasta. I've meditated on the mountain. I've communed with all the nature around there, Shasta, Shastina. I love that place. I love the energy there. But does it feel Lemurian to me? No. And I know I'm in the minority, but I've learned to trust my own discernment. Same thing about other people who are teaching about Lemuria. I remember my wife and I, several years ago, went to someone's 4 or 5 day conference in Hawaii, kind of a big deal. And the big theme was Lemuria. So Mamiko and I are excited. We plan our trip. We're going to go little, vacation on a neighbor island, go to this Lemurian conference. We didn't feel anything really Lemurian at all during those days. Well, I take that back. Some of the participants we met, we felt that Lemurian connection, but in terms of the presenters and the content and the whole 4 or 5 days, really didn't resonate with us. Again, we were using our powers of discernment. So whatever someone says is true, you have to listen and just listen to your heart, trust your heart. Is it true for me? It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means whatever this is, it doesn't resonate with you. The third idea I invite you to keep in mind when you're thinking about your spiritual journey and finding your path is that your everyday life is your spiritual journey. It's not separate from it. The thoughts you choose to think as soon as you wake up in the morning, what you choose to do or think about during the day, all the choices you make, all the experiences you have, that is your spiritual journey. That's why you incarnated into this physical body. You wanted to have a spiritual journey of evolution while being in a physical body. So your everyday life is truly your journey, and treating it as a sacred experience, as a meaningful and beautiful experience, makes your spiritual journey a lot easier because you start recognizing it in day to day. At sunset yesterday, Mamiko and I took a drive down to the beach. We've got a really nice beach a few minutes from here. And we went down there for sunset, enjoy the water, enjoy the sky. It was absolutely beautiful. And lying there after the sun had go down and just seeing the amazing colors in the clouds and the sky, I felt so connected. I felt so at one with Mother Earth and, through the sand and the water and looking into the clouds. I just was so appreciative of being able to have this experience with all of my senses. I felt sincere appreciation and connection. And it was one of those moments where it became very clear, this is my spiritual journey, what I choose to do and how I choose to think about things in my day-to-day life. Don't worry about missing any steps. Those steps will find you. As you develop your relationship with your higher self, as you become more aware and more discerning, the steps will become clearer and clearer. They're going to find you. You don't have to go searching for them. Trust. That's the big word. Trust, relax, and truly enjoy the process day by day. You're not going to screw this up. You came here to evolve and have the experience. You're on your spiritual path. It's your day-to-day life. One of my mentors once said to me, the human journey is as simple as you choose it to be. Any complexity you experience is simply complexity that you've chosen to weave into your experience. This can be simple. It can be fun. In fact, it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be enjoyable. So take a deep breath, relax, and know that you've got this. I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment, leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and until I see you again, I send you my love and light from Lemuria. Aloha.